A generation was to be redefined by a single battle. One man cemented his legacy forever by becoming the uncontested boxing king. However, did his greatest triumph unintentionally reveal the brutal reality of the sport's agonizing, inexorable decline? The punches delivered within the ring were the center of attention. The most startling disclosures, however, were made in the comments that were uttered shortly after the final bell and exposed a bitter struggle for the very essence of boxing. It was a momentous night. In order to pursue immortality, Terence "Bud" Crawford, a master of the sweet science, moved up in weight and faced the powerful Canelo Alvarez in the ring. It was a high-stakes venture that was designed to herald in a new era for the planet and was streamed globally on Netflix.sport. And Crawford emerged as the winner after all was said and done. Veteran pundit Kellerman leaned in and called him the GOAT of this period while he was holding his championship belt. It was a flawless coronation for a while. On the largest stage possible, a boxer who had dedicated his career to dispelling skeptics had finally done so.
Thank you, GOAT, because you are the GOAT of this era. Terence "Bud" Crawford.
However, that tidy, victorious story was about to become extremely complex. Boxing icon and fellow pundit Andre Ward was quick to commend Crawford's performance, describing it as incredible. He underlined how dangerous what Crawford had done was. He had defeated a larger, more formidable foe in a brilliant, skillful battle at the age of almost 38. Ward explained what was so unique about Crawford. In addition to his brilliance, many fans are unaware of his unexpected power, which stems from his wrestling history. He described how Canelo was won over early in the bout by Crawford's superior conditioning and sheer strength, negating the alleged size advantage. For Ward, it was the last indisputable mark on an illustrious career, man who had answered every single question asked of him.
We just seen Terence Crawford create greatness and beat Canelo Alvarez tonight. What was your thoughts on that performance from Terence?
Terence Crawford is a great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight, and he did that at 38, 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great, great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there, the power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So what more can I say?
However, Ward then made an unexpected statement. Ward gave a breathtaking response when asked what the new monarch would do next. Retirement. He thought Crawford had fulfilled all the necessary requirements. He was wealthy enough to ensure the future of his family for many generations. He was regarded as one of the greatest of all time. He left behind a legacy that was untouchable. From Ward's perspective, Crawford had nothing more to prove.
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we doing? Why are we still in the game?
Yeah, I get it. Andre, always good to talk to you.
The shocking idea that the man who had just achieved the pinnacle of the sport ought to resign immediately persisted. It alluded to a deeper truth. Maybe the most prestigious honors had become obsolete. The risk. Furthermore, Kellerman, the main act, was doing the exact opposite when Ward was thinking of leaving the elite sports world. Kellerman made a passionate, almost frantic remark, but it was more about the future than the past. The Canelo-Crawford fight was hailed as the start of a new boxing era.
No, what I said was, and I was right, and of course Canelo is the face of boxing, so of course he feels a certain way about it. But does anyone dispute that boxing is not as big as it used to be? Right? It's not. If you go down in the street, the average person doesn't know. Now, it's different in Mexico, obviously, and I even said before that. Mexican and Mexican-American fans have kept boxing alive in North America. So Canelo from Mexico, of course, has a different experience, because you walk down the street in Mexico, the average person knows who the champion is. In America, in the United States, they do not. The point is, we have a chance for the first time in my life, which is why I'm involved with this, because I think there's an historical moment where there's a chance that it could work, that between Turki Al-Sheikh and Dana White and Nick Khan, who's the most effective executive I have ever even heard about, let alone seen, that this could become, what's going on here, what Canelo Crawford's kicking off, could actually result in a golden era of boxing, because for the first time, we could have a they there.
For many onlookers, the audacious assertion seemed oddly out of place. He was marketing a vision, a guarantee that boxing's greatest days were still to come, rather than merely commemorating a fantastic bout. This went well beyond post-fight analysis. It marked the start of a huge dispute. While detractors believed that the sport had been suffering for decades, Kellerman was attempting to convince everyone that it was sunny outdoors.
So if you want a league or a sport to grow, you need to make plans. And the issue with boxing has always been it's a laissez-faire marketplace. It's, as Dana White says, a going out of business sale. Every promotion's trying to juice the fans for everything they got, which is why now only a handful of fans are watching on pay-per-view. The prices keep going up because the marketplace is shrinking because we haven't exposed it to the mainstream. Because we take these fans and we charge $100 for a pay-per-view. Come on, man. And half the time the fights aren't good, right? And they don't take place when we want to see them even. So that base gets smaller and smaller. And as it gets smaller, we charge them more and more because to make the profit, right? That has not worked. It's dried boxing up, it's moved it to the margin.
And the events that followed unveiled the contentious blueprint he thought may preserve it. Kellerman maintained that the absence of a centralized authority had been boxing's main issue for many years. Boxing does not have a single organization that organizes the main fights, creates the stars, or plans for the future like other sports leagues or even the UFC do. Then, using his apparently limitless riches, he picked the Saudi promoter Turki Al-Sheikh as one of the individuals he thought might establish this new power. He referred to Nick Khan, the WWE executive, as the most successful person he had ever seen, and Dana White, the man who made the UFC a global powerhouse. It was a startling proposal. He was essentially pushing for a corporate merger to control the dispersed boxing industry and concentrate its power in the hands of a select group of billionaires and elite promoters.
You have more of the best fighters in the world than anyone else. So I would ask you, does this have the resources? Turki Al-Sheikh, do we have the resources? Yes. Do you have someone who has built an institution in combat sports? The only one I'm aware of. No other institution ever really existed in boxing. As Dana White will say, who I go back with more than 20 years, as Dana White would say, so how many billions of dollars has boxing generated? And what's left? There's nothing here. Promoters go out and, they have a little suite of offices, a couple rooms, and then they leave and they're gone. There's no institution left. The UFC is an institution, guys. Why do you think all your friends and everybody know more about the UFC and it's talked about more in the mainstream than boxing? Because they have a they there. So the resources are there with Turki, the knowledge of institution building is there with Dana, and Nick Khan is, I'm telling you, and I go back 25 years with Nick Khan, used to be my agent. He's the best operator I have ever seen, period. Any business. He's the best executive I have ever seen. I don't think there's a close second. So, Turki resources, Dana institutional knowledge, and Nick Khan as the executive. Can this work? And now, it's kicked off with Canelo and Crawford.
However, this amazing vision immediately drew fierce fire. The blowback was rapid and harsh. Journalists and fans accused Kellerman of lecturing the audience and trying to explain that if you keep people will start to believe your lies to be true if you tell them often enough. They emphasized how oddly hypocritical his stance was. Just a few days earlier, Kellerman had been getting anxious at a press presentation. Discussion with Canelo after it was claimed that boxing has lost its allure.
You want an NBA or an NFL in boxing? Here it comes.
because he knows how to build an institution. And how do you do that?
Hey Max, boxing is always bigger, bigger and big. Don't say boxing is not big enough. Boxing is big. You know how big is boxing.
Should it get bigger, yes or no? Should it get bigger, Canelo?
Maybe it's gonna be bigger, but look, boxing is always big and big and bigger and bigger and bigger. We need to talk about that too. Boxing is boxing.
I love Canelo in English, by the way. I love it.
Boxing is boxing.
No lies. No lies.
So how do you do it?
There.
So how do you do it? You have someone like...
My respect for all the sport. Great job, everything, but boxing is boxing.
He was now advocating for that same Dana White as the sport's possible savior. It appeared to opponents that Kellerman was attempting to fabricate a story to support an agenda supported by the influential individuals pushing the event, or even to preserve face. Despite the evidence to the contrary, he was urging the audience to believe in a golden age. This controversy revealed a serious personality issue and a far deeper disease within the sport. Critics said that, aside from this historic bout, Jake Paul has been the boxing industry's top pay-per-view attraction in recent years. He gained notoriety outside of the sport and attracts attention because people either like him or badly need him wish to witness his unconsciousness. In the contemporary attention economy, that is what sells. Character. Despite being two of the best boxers of their time, Crawford and Canelo's promotion mainly relied on cross-promotion with the UFC and WWE, two bigger, more culturally important businesses. What does it say about the quality of your own product if larger organizations are required to draw attention to your sport? Although the fight was amazing, no new star was born. It only displayed the two that were already there, leaving a gap when they are removed. Terence Crawford's legacy is safe in the end. He is unquestionably among the best to have never made it into the ring. He defied expectations, put on weight, and triumphed over another legend. However, a frantic, shattered argument against the state of the sport he had just won engulfed his triumphant moment. The evening turned into an autopsy of boxing's issues instead of a celebration of its promise. Thus, we are left with an intriguing query. Was the coronation of a real all-time king just completed? Or was it just the final major conflict in a kingdom that is gradually disintegrating? As the confetti settles, one must consider what the sweet sciences the real future is included in. That brings an end to today's video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and ring that if you liked it. To ensure you don't miss our next videos, click the bell icon. Additionally, remember to leave your opinions in the space provided for comments. Remain in place. Stay tuned for the next event. We hope to see you there. Video.